Hi, how are you doing? Today I am going to be doing another little video. I'm still not well and I'm getting there, guys. I've had tonsillitis. And today I wanted to do a makeup that, I mean, not my contouring and that's just what I'm doing anyway, but my makeup is going to be based on, talk about cultural appropriation. That's what we're going to talk about. So, Hailey Bieber, she had a brown hazy lipstick look, and they were saying that she was culturally appropriating black people for having this look. You know, she wasn't sort of like saying, oh, this is where it came from. Naomi Campbell, I think, was one of the main people that started wearing that. Although I have to say, I wore that in the 90s myself. So I can't really say much because I did wear that in the 90s and I'm not black or anything. But then somebody else said it was from Cholo. Some of this look started from the Cholo. So I thought, well, let me look at who are Cholos. I mean, I'm from the UK. I have no idea who Cholo or anything about Cholo. So I looked it up and found out that these were people that had migrated to America from Mexico. And a lot of people said it was like from the 90s. Well, I can remember watching those kind of hip hop films in the 90s where the girls were really, really beautiful, really, really cool. The black girls and the Latina girls, and they had big earrings like these. See these ones I've got? Although people still wear these, I think. These say Queen K on them. They're so cool. They're like big Creole earrings, and I think they're the coolest. Although they are not easy to wear because they're quite, to be fair to you, I've had these on and they are quite heavy. You wouldn't want, I mean, yeah, pain for beauty, they say, don't they? But yeah, so I'm just doing my contour. So I looked a bit more into the Cholos because I didn't know anything about them. And, you know, it was sort of said that it was the 90s and people sort of were dressing up as them and doing makeup tutorials for Halloween for them. And then I thought, well, was it from the 90s? I've always been curious. I wanted to find out a bit more, but actually it wasn't from the 90s. It was from the 40s when it all started with these Cholos. And basically, when the Mexican women and men came over to America, they wanted to have their own style. They wanted to have their own beauty look, which is great. So what they did was the women, so I'm going to have to just stop while I do this. The women had really thin eyebrows, and the red lipstick of the time, which was fashionable, they put a dark lip liner around the lips. And it just looks so amazing. I think it's beautiful myself. And the reason I kind of did it, sort of fell onto it, was I knew nothing about all this. I didn't really have the thin eyebrows or anything like that. I think I did in the 90s. Wasn't Kylie having really thin eyebrows? I think everybody was sort of following Kylie in the UK at that point. And I think I did have quite thin eyebrows at that point. Obviously now it's more natural brows. But what the people didn't like was like, they weren't saying, look, this is where it all originated from. And I understand that and I get that. And I think it's fine to, this is my own personal opinion, fine to look however you want, or even copy something that someone else has done, as long as you recognise the person who you sort of, you know, got the idea from. So I'm just gonna put some powder on. So anyway, so they had like lots of they did the winged liner look as well in the 90s. That was big, and I'm just putting some powder on. But anyway, so this lady, Regina, her name is Regina Merson. She's like a speaker for like makeup artist that's really well known in the Latin American world. And she said that, you know, that the reason that they did it in the 1940s, that they dressed this way, was they didn't want to conform to the USA look. So it was an identity, and that actually this look isn't a fashion or a trend or whatever. It's actually an identity, and it was hard won because these people, by people that they experienced poverty, and they were from very conservative backgrounds, and also you know, gang warfare, violence, they experienced all that. And this was their identity. This was their look, you know, their special look. And we mustn't forget that. So the Chola, yeah. So, but that's, I think we do remember them from the 90s, but I think it was long before then. But how interesting was that? So I'm just going to finish off doing this. I have stayed away from the bandana because even though I think it looks great with a bandana, I wanted to try and recreate a little bit more of the 1940s style chola, or where they had their hair sort of up like this that I could see from the pictures. I'm not sure. Do you remember that film? What was it called? About America. What was it called? No, not Coming to America. That's Eddie Murphy. There was another one. West Side Story. Was West Side Story? I wonder if that was part of that time. But that would be in New York, wouldn't it? So that was that time. But yeah, the reason that I first started doing this was because I actually ran out of, I couldn't find my lip liner and had to go to work. And I thought, right, I'm just going to have to use like a liquid or something, you know, just so that I can go to work. And so what I did was, I want to show you something else. This is Latino as well. This I learnt the other day. I was just watching, you know, on social media, and this was from Jennifer Lopez. She said, draw like a little light bulb underneath there and just go like that. And it stops you from looking like you've got a double chin. It actually does work. Actually, you have to just put it underneath, not actually on your jawline. You use a lighter colour there, and then you can just, you know, obviously you don't leave it like that. You can put it. I'll get it right in a minute. You can just what's the word? God, I'm speaking over my mouth today. You can just blend it in. That was the word I was looking for. Oh, these antibiotics, not me for sick, penicillin, oh God. And apparently, I was speaking to my friend actually yesterday, and she said that there's none of that cough spray left. Sorry, not cough spray, throat spray left anywhere. So this is what I did, right? I just took my liquid lipstick. I didn't have my liner, and I just went like that along there. And then at the top. Yeah. And then I took another lighter colour. I'm using two sort of pinky colours. This is like an aubergine colour. And then I use this pink. These are NYX, by the way. And they last all day. Great if you're working. Put that in the middle. I had no idea this was nothing to do with the Chula or Hailey Bieber or Naomi Campbell or anybody else. I was just in a hurry. Right, and then I just took, I thought I was going like that with it. To kind of like put it in. And I found I thought, oh my gosh, let me just, you know, make sure it's straight. So I just took a little brush because I didn't have a lot of time. I looked for ages, I remember. I could not find my lip liner anyway. And I just kind of blended it in. So all I can say to you is, if you think you're doing something new, someone probably has already done it before. that's what I kind of learned from that. But yeah, this culture, the chulos, very interesting. They also did the low riding cars. Do you remember those? You know, the cars that used to bounce in the 90s? Yeah. I think in the 90s they wore the bandanas as well. You know, like you know, that kind of thing. Reminds me of the sort of times of like Boys in the Hood. That sort of New Jack City. Those movies that time. This that I'm putting on now, which is great with the NYX thing, is on the other end they have something so that your makeup lasts all day. Which is great. I'm just going to put a bit of concealer underneath my eyes. To do the concealer, I put a little bit there and a little bit there, and always have it going upwards. I don't like the big bake thing. It just doesn't do anything for me. And then the other thing I saw was some of them have like white on top of the dark. So I could put a bit of that on as well. So I'm just blending that in. And I haven't nose contoured actually. So I'm just going to do this using this palette. This is NYX Mystic Petals. I've had it a little while. I'm going to use a light colour, just see what that looks like, because I saw that they had kind of like a light kind of colour on the top. So it'll be like here, just packing that on. Just sort of light, very light. I think that's how they did it. But I think you didn't have to have light. You could have like green or pink. I saw some people doing that as well. Just blending that in. And that's it. And there we are. There we have it. I didn't put any mascara on, but obviously you would finish with mascara. And you've got your big earrings are really important. Your thin eyebrows. And obviously if you're doing the 90s cholo look, you need to put the bandana. Anyway, I hope that went okay. So there you go. That's my take on it. Have a lovely day.